Hey guys, welcome back to Cafe Con Lego. This is your girl Cece, and today we're going to be talking about the third episode of Lego Masters. There's not a whole lot to talk about this week, but there were still a few things that were pretty interesting. So let's get into the video. Question before we get started: who do you guys think is going to go home this week? Tell me in the comments below. This week's theme was cut in half. That was the challenge. And in order to introduce the challenge, Will comes in and starts cutting a bike in half in order to show us that the builders are going to be building half of whatever it is that they choose. There's a couple of different options. There was a clock, there was a piñata, a bike as well. I believe Boone and Mark had the clock, or sorry, not the clock. They had the laptop. I think I said half globe already, a diver's tank, a telescope, and a couple of other things. So at the start of the challenge, the judges let us know that this is a mainly sculpting challenge, and that although they have half of an object, they are able to build whatever they want on the other half of the object, and it's really about the sculpting part and the storytelling that will bring both whatever they build and their half object together. This week they had 12 hours to build everything, and it was going to be a different challenge for different people. Some of the objects had smaller surface areas, some of them had bigger areas, so it allowed them to really have their imagination shine through. I think if you had a smaller surface area for your object, of course, that's going to be a lot more difficult than you having a bigger surface to build off of. But that allowed you, or the teams, to really showcase their imagination and their build capabilities. So really, other than that, there's not a whole much that happens in the first part of the show before we get to the challenge. A few things to really kind of highlight is that Sam and Jessica were turning over a new leaf, and they said that they're going to be working together as a team. So that's good. There's going to be less drama, hopefully, and there actually was. There was less drama in this episode, which was great. The bearded builders, Boone and Mark, they got stuck with the laptop, and so they really kind of came into the challenge, it seemed like, with the not too high energy. They wanted the clock, it seems. But the Rich and Flynn, they were the ones who got that. The next big thing that happened in the first part of the episode was that the clocks actually stopped at 6 hours left, and the judges came around and did a preliminary, review of everyone's builds, and then they took half the teams and said, okay, you're the top, and then they designated who the bottom teams were. And the thing was that's such a highlight and a great asset to the teams that were in the top, and I think even more of an asset for the teams that were in the bottom. It's amazing that this show really seems to want to have everybody bring their A game. I think which any other type of challenge show, that would not necessarily be the case. The top teams at the halfway point were Rich and Flynn, Aaron and Christian, the married couple, Mel and Jermaine, and Sam and Jessica, which really surprised me. So good on them for being able to really pull together and showcase their actual artistic ability, because I was really starting to doubt why they were even there on the show. Unfortunately, the bottom teams were the rest. You have Mark and Boone, who is such a great team. The great thing about the halfway review was that the bottom teams were pulled aside, and Will gave them a sort of pep talk, a half game or halftime pep talk to really boost motivation, and it seemed like it worked. Mark and Boone came back into the game after the pep talk, and once the clock restarted, well, not restarted, but started up again, and showed that, hey, we have a vision, we have direction, and they were able to pull something together, which was great. Going into final judging, you really had most of the teams doing pretty well. They were able to rally after the halfway point if they had the pep talk, or if they were already doing well, they were able to just full steam ahead and continue on with the concept. The only people who really didn't do well were the cosplayers and also the brothers, it just seemed like their vision versus execution was not really up to par with everybody else's. Favorite thing about Mark and Boone's build was the mechanical aspects that they added on to the half laptop to create part of their story, which was the search engine for their vlogger. Aaron and Christian had half of a diving helmet, and they did another amazing build. They had a Kraken that moved along with a ship as well. However, the judges criticized them on not doing enough sculpting, and they wanted to see a bigger Kraken. I can kind of see where the judges are coming from, but on the other hand, I don't really see it. The build was amazing, so I don't see why they're complaining. On to Sam and Jessica. Wow, did they really bring their A game for this challenge, episode 3. I was really amazed by their mermaid. They had half of a fire hydrant. On one side of the fire hydrant, you saw just the fire hydrant, and it looked like water was exploding from behind it, like a busted fire hydrant. But on the other side, you had this beautiful looking mermaid. So like I said, they really brought their A game, and when they put their heads together and they're not bickering, they have a lot to show for it. Mel and Jermaine also did a water-themed build. They had a giant octopus playing their half guitar. It was really cool. I don't know why the show didn't really highlight much about the build. Okay, on to the newlyweds. Once again, they did another amazing build. They had half a telescope, and they were able to fit like 3 or 4 different scenes all around it. Their build wasn't huge, but they did have a lot of large elements, but not unlike Aaron and Christian, so I don't know why the judges chose to chastise one and accept the other. The team that came out of nowhere and won the challenge this week was Richard and Flynn with their clockwork build. It was set around a village that was repairing a clock, that their village was set around a giant clock man. Really, I'm not explaining it right, but it was a beautiful build. And before we get into the bottom 2 teams, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe to the video, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, and the bottom 2 teams were not Sam and Jessica actually this week, but Corey and Travis, unfortunately, the brothers, and the cosplay girls. The cosplay girls built a dragon world where Lego was connecting the world. It was a far-fetched concept and poorly executed dragons. And the brothers had really just a half build. And when you have the level of competition that we do in this show, you can't deliver half builds. So it was unfortunate to see them go. I enjoyed hearing their story last week. But that was it for this episode. I'm looking forward to next week. If you guys enjoy the recaps and the reviews from me, from Cafe Con Lego and your girl Cece, well, let me know in the comments down below. All right, guys, that'll be it from me. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.